Right. 1 sec. Right, Mr. Jim. So you have a book that's coming out, and I want you to tell the listeners what this book is about.
Uh, Broken America. It's called Broken America 10 Principles to Restore Civility in America. So it's going to be released on the 9th, and I got a copy of it someplace here. Where is it? I should have a copy. You never be without a book that you're going to release, right? So,
Absolutely.
so it's going to be released. Yeah, I had it laying over here in the corner. So, yes, it's 10 principles, and I start off the first part of the book and start off with the Constitution, the U.S. Constitution, and the founding fathers and the founding mothers, and I wanted to bring an awareness once again, even though everybody in the world, everybody specifically in the United States, understand the Constitution of the United States Amendment. And then I would say maybe they don't. Especially with some of the behavior that we're seeing play out in America politics today. So I am a veteran, a military Army veteran, disabled Army veteran in the Vietnam era, and I'm a proud American, and I just couldn't sit on the sideline anymore, and remain silent, in my opinion, to see some of the antics and the some of the leadership uh, principles that are being currently employed, and I try to be as politically correct as I possibly can. But I'm not sure this is time to be politically correct, because I think the United States is in pain and I think she's hurting. So I wanted to do what I could do to address it and take it from a spirit of someone that loves America and has fought for America, and I think we're going in the wrong direction. So here I am. We've written the book, and it's all been under 9 months since we started writing this book to release. So it's been, and I wanted to get it out prior to the U.S. general election in November. So that's what we're doing, and that's dear to my heart. And I hope that we can get people, not only in the United States, around the world, to take a look at the principles that we're laying out in the book. And those principles is vision for our country, courage. What is capitalism? What is it not? Diversification, diversity, and all of the things that I think makes us a human society, not just in the United States, but I think these principles apply around the globe.
See, many, many years ago, we were just a small tribe. We had a leader, and there was, say, 20 followers, and they would all follow, because if they didn't, then the leader would essentially kill them, right? Send them away, right? And so, as those tribes have got bigger and bigger and bigger, there's still one head at the top of the triangle, but the people below have increased so much so. And what happens when you have lots of people? You have other people trying to take control as well. So now you've got two leaders fighting for the same position. Now, if you imagine like energy in terms of the Big Bang, when there's too much energy, it is an explosion. And years, over the last, say, 50 years, the population has gone from, say, 4 billion, probably less, to 8 billion, who've just been smothered with all these human beings trying to have some form of control amongst a place where there's already somebody who has control. And so now everyone is getting a bit of control. They're being heard. That's what all this political correctness is happening. People are getting, they feel powerful when they say this should be that or this should be that. Government is scared of crap. What happens if I don't do it? They're going to cause havoc. So you say, I'll give you a bone, and you sit happily over there. And then as some gay movement comes over there, they give you a bone. Some black movement, give you a bone. Some vegan movement, I'll give you a bone. And all these bones are being given out. And every country in the world has given out so many bones to shut people up for that minute. They don't know how many bones they've given out, who is shutting up, who's piping up. They've literally lost control. And so this political correctness about black or white, left or right, yin and yang, Republican, Democrat, up, down, sun, moon, it's not reality. As you know, everything in life is a grey. and yet politics is simply black and white. And so I think, and I wrote a book about this about 3 years ago, and I did a YouTube video on this, and it's all to do with the only way the world can essentially evolve any further is having small local governments. So imagine state-owned governments. So no one head chief at the top. Small governments where they have their own rules and regulations. So let's just say that loads of vegans lived in Ohio and loads of people who like plants lived in, say, Connecticut. If you don't like plants but you like vegan, shut up in that state and come live in this state.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you've got all the blacks living there, all the Republicans living there, all the vegans living there, all the gays living here, just like local tribes years ago. You had like all these different tribes and belief systems, and they all were spread out. Thousands of tribes. Now, because of how everything is, all the tribes have moved together. They're sharing their ideas, religious beliefs, political beliefs, what they like to eat. You should be eating noodles and rice, and they haven't got the right immune system to have nuts because, you know, allergies and all that nonsense. Everyone's being merged together, and we're trying to like still live in a system of, you know, black and white. You should do this, you should not do this. And it's not a reality. So moving forward, it's like the Big Bang. Once it gets together, it explodes, and you've got a planet over here, a planet over here, a planet over here, and then life goes on that planet, life goes on that planet, and life goes on that planet.
I Wow, I couldn't agree with you more. I wrote my first book and released it in 2007. As we know, 2008 was another major issue, not only in the United States, but it affected around the globe as well. And that book was called "What's My Purpose? A Journey of Personal and Professional Growth." And that one, every time I use those words, it just gives chills. I still get chills today because I wrote the book to say every human being on the globe has a unique purpose and a unique purpose. But the challenge we have is to be able to have, I'm going to use the word the freedoms, for lack of a better word, right at the moment. But we all have choices, right? We all have choices. However, some parts of the world, the choices you make when you're talking about freedoms and liberty comes at a very severe price sometimes. Sometimes at the cost of your life if you elect. So that's been a journey of mine. So now 14 years or so since I wrote that book, and we're still out there. We can have meaning in life, but once again, what is the purpose? At the end, when you leave this human body, and your spirit's going to, whatever your belief system is, and everybody deserves to have their belief system. But I use the energetic example, such as you used, Oliver. I love what you just said. And energetically, we have got to continue to explore. And I did a podcast a couple of days ago, 3 or 4 days ago, and I think at that time, I would love to be able to have all the leaders of the world in a room for an hour and be able to close the door and have a discussion. Why can't we get this right, folks? What is it we must do? How many people must be suppressed? How many people must die as a result of bad decisions, bad leadership, because we're just trying to control many of the populations around the world? And actually, I also in 2008, one of the courses that I created was called the Tribe of Five. I love your definition of the tribe, and explained exactly the head of the tribe, and brought in different groups, from around early years, going back 400, 500, 600 years, as to how they survived during those times. So that's what we're doing here in America, and as we look across the water, we've got to realize that here you and I are. We had initial contact, and we can get on the phone right now, and within 2 hours, and sit down and have a serious conversation. And I don't know why that is not occurring more frequently with some of our world leaders as well.
So imagine like forest fires. So you have, say, an acorn, it creates a sprout that becomes a tree, and then another acorn becomes a tree. And now they start fighting for nutrients underground with the roots. And then those trees get really, really big. And in a hot day, that sun heats up that branch. It's so close to the other branch that that sets that branch alight. And in a massive forest, it's just that's connected to that one, that's connected to that one. Before you know it, the whole forest has burnt down, and then it all goes back to the ground, and then the whole cycle starts again. Before man became too smart and had all this medicine and stuff like that, people would die from flus like COVID. Like, it's the way that the world recycles. It gets rid of the dead wood to create new life. Now, man thinks that we are the most amazing species on the planet and we want to live forever. We want to protect humanity. Just like if a lion sees another lion about to get eaten by, say, a buffalo, it will come and help it. But what's happened is that we've all come together, and because we're so close together, everyone's problems are becoming everyone else's problems. Now, we've all got our own individual problems, but everyone else's problems come first because it's easier to say what somebody else should do than it is to go deep within ourselves and find our own problems. And so life just continues and people forget where they came from. And then we we feel powerful. It's like we when you're in pain, and imagine you got a thorn in your hand and you press that thorn and you feel that pain. There's a power of trying to find a way. There's a power of trying to find a way to get that thorn out, and therefore we feel, one sec, and then we feel like we've achieved something when we found a way to get the thorn out, right? But then other thorns just keep coming in, so we don't stop. We don't find reasons why those thorns entered our body in the first place and stop them from happening again. It's almost like a dog. It will purposely throw a ball into the water in order to find it. It'll probably dig a bone and bury it in order to find it. And I was like, I saw a dog do this once. He was throwing a ball into the water and trying to dig it and find it. I was like, what the hell is he doing? He's done that 20 times now. And I realized something, as you said. He has a purpose at that specific moment. If all we have in life is a purpose, because there really is no purpose, we're just a bit of bacteria that's evolved and eaten everything, what the hell do we do? And the answer is, well, you're here, so you might as well do something, find a purpose. And interestingly enough, before we arranged to do this, I did my first individual podcast by myself where I just simply turn on the mic and speak. And the very first thing I said was, every day I ask myself, what is the purpose of life? And I ask myself, what is the purpose? And I say, there is no purpose. Our purpose is to find a purpose. And the other day, I was on a walk with my family. I've been teaching my mum all this energy, power of the mind, law of attraction, all this nonsense, right? I've been telling her for 7 years. All she's ever heard is that, right? Until she started to take control herself and do her own research and find her own mentors. So I don't have to be that mentor forever, right? And I was saying yesterday on the walk, the only purpose we have in life is to find a purpose. Now, that could be picking berries to make an apple pie. That could be picking apples to juice and give to your friends some apple cider. It could be seeing an old lady and saying, can I go to the shop centre for you? For that moment, that is your purpose. It could be asking your neighbour, can I walk your dog for you if you get home late? The purpose doesn't have to be forever. It could be more than one. It's just about finding a purpose, a reason to get up in the morning. And a lot of people who rely on government have forgotten that they're not in control of you. Like they have an overall of what you should or shouldn't do to keep society stabilized, but you can do whatever you want. And when people try and fight governments and movements to create change, it's like that thorn in you. You've got that pain, you've got that bee in your bonnet, you've got that feeling of, I feel like there's more, I should deserve more, and that becomes your motive, and you go down a path, and we should be doing this, blah, blah, blah. Once they've written a policy, they've given out that bone, you relax, you surrender, and you feel, oh, this is so peaceful. But during that moment of trying to get that thorn out, it was so painful that when you get it out, it feels amazing. But what you didn't understand is that there's a feeling without that thorn at all that's so much better than that feeling of I've got what I wanted, and everything is becoming overwhelming. And people say, online and social media is really good because you can see your uncle or your auntie in another country. But I say it's because of technology that she buggered off there in the first place, because she can get on a
Right.
train, she can get on a plane run by a system of technology. So it's called finding that you found a solution to a problem when there wasn't even a problem, right? The solution is the hang on, the problem is the solution to the problem. It's like man trying to create everything. It's like Elon Musk has created this earpiece where we can sort of send thoughts to each other with a little chip. People have been doing that called telepathy for millions of years, right?
Yes.
You put a thought out, meet me at the beach, Jesus, and then Moses comes along at the exact same time at
Exactly.
the, that's happened for years. There's humans
Yeah.
trying to just take over stuff, and it's like God created it already, mate.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I often say over the years, you what you think is what you get, right? So you can think it in the and I'm a huge energetic person and always studying and the power how we could set you and I could set and we could get someone in Nairobi and Russia, wherever it is around the globe, and we could have a conversation and we could put our thoughts out of the things we want to think, and it will absolutely manifest if you do it. And conversely, where we have I'm going to choose a word, hopefully it will make sense. When we have people thinking that it says destruction and pain, and I want to control, and I want to, I want to do, I'm going to use bad things to find bad things versus uh, do we think that the globe as a society, if we could get a movement going forward about the energetic thought process of how we could talk to each other uh, energetically, like you said, which we've been doing for billions of years. And now with technology, does technology make it better? Or does it not make it better in our ability to connect with our fellow human beings globally? To be able to ask that question, what's my purpose? And I love the way you put it. What's my purpose? It could be for an hour. It could be for a day. It's every time. It's every day changing. I get up every day and I have an exercise that I do. I go when I get up and it may not I may be brushing my teeth, but I have exercise. I'm looking in a mirror. I'm looking directly in my eyes. I'm just standing there looking, and I'm basically saying I'm looking into my soul. And I asked a question: what can I do today better that I didn't do yesterday that's going to affect someone's life in a positive way? And what does that mean to them? And I think, for what I can tell, that's what you're intended to do with your mini podcast. What can we do to inspire people to take control of asking that question? What is my purpose? What is my purpose? And again, we talked about the forest example, understand, agree, and we know that we have the evolution, and we know, but this COVID-19, it's devastating. It's devastating. Are we are we saying that that is the organic process of culling? Are we saying that? For me, I have a hard time acknowledging that to be the case because it's such a devastating. But as a society, we're born and we're going to occupy this space that we're in for so many years. But who wants to be the person that says, I want to be the part of the statistic on the fatality as a result of. So I'm not going to really. I'm going to fight that a little bit to say that we have got to do everything within our power, and allow normal processes. We're born, and I'm being redundant for a moment, so bear with me, folks. We're born. We're going to occupy our body. We're going to leave this body and do whatever happens after that, whatever your belief is. But in the meantime, I don't believe it's okay just to turn our back to the globe where it's in our power to maybe help people to overcome disease. Is that making sense, or what's your view?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like any animal, its purpose, I suppose you could say any living thing's purpose is to procreate and survive, right? So a lion will do whatever he can to eat and drink, and if he's got cubs, it will do whatever it can to make sure those cubs live. Humans, we do whatever we can to eat and drink, whether that's making medicine, antibiotics, whether that's trading secrets with China to find out how to have remedies and cure cancer, whatever. Our aim is to survive. You could say that we've caused loads of problems to find solutions to that. If we didn't cause those problems, then we would live longer anyway. I mean, that is obviously debatable, but our purpose is to survive, which is no different to any other living species. And if society has been set up if society is set up because of we have created a way to survive, then if we want to continue to survive as a race, we need to continue what we're doing. So let's just say the average animal dies after, say, 10 years or whatever, like a dog. Humans have only been able to live for so long because of how it's set up. And if that means we need to keep every human being alive, if they've got a disease, heal them, and all the crap that comes with having to do that, and a few people die here and there, for the human race to live for, say, 80 years as opposed to, say, 30 years, then that's the price to pay of an evolved species. It's like the good and the bad. You have to deal with, you've created all this good to live longer, but grands moved to America because of technology in the first place. But because of technology, you can now, say, go to space. So you have to take the good with the bad. And like everything in life, people want a definite answer. They want something that's just there so they know it's there. Like people have calendars. They want to know what's happening at this time, what they're doing tomorrow. They can't just let things be. And so I'm losing my thought. You carry on.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. No, I understand, and it is a it is a dialogue, especially that the globe is experiencing this COVID-19. And I don't know about you, but I haven't heard much discussion from, I'm going to say, from the scholars of religion discuss it, the evolution of life, if you will. But like I said, I am not an advocate, and I'm not in no way saying that when pandemics occur, that we just turn our back, oh, let everybody die. I am not supportive of that. I am supportive that if we have the means and if we have our leaders to be proactive and lead by example, to say, I have a responsibility to Oliver. If I come in contact with Oliver, and if I know that I may be putting Oliver in harm's way because I may know that I could be a carrier, well, I don't think that's very responsible for me not to do everything that I possibly can to protect Oliver. Is that makes sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I see that a lot playing out, especially in the United States, where we have groups that I am not going to wear a mask. Come on, it's a simple price to do. It's out of respect for the human being, right? Now we all know that at some point in time, and I think this will be the fourth time I made reference to this, that we're going to depart this human body. But it's departed in a in a normal cycle, whatever that looks like, whatever our DNA says to us and our health and our lifestyle that we choose, that we continue to breathe and to be a living human being. But it's not okay, in my opinion, for us to create harm, whoever we are, when we know that we could be part of the problem or part of the solution. And that's some of the issues that I have with some of our leaders around the world. And as you know as well as I, we got some countries that are doing it better than others of protecting their citizens, being more proactive. Now, we have in this COVID-19, everybody thinks, well, it's got a vaccine. Of course, we want a solution, but is a vaccine the solution? We got, what, 50% of the people that may or may not accept a vaccine around the globe. Then we have, in the past 6 months, the devastated effect on the economy And once you say that we get a magic vaccine in the next month, as being touted in the United States, I would be elated if that was the case. I would be elated. But is that going to be the magic pill of undoing? And I think the globe as a whole. And I was just doing some research for another purpose last evening, and on the economy, the global economy. And it's projected as over $30 trillion by 2023 that we're going to be in debt as a result of COVID-19. So, so what are we setting ourselves up for? How do we recover from that? Is a vaccine going to be the magic bullet? What countries are going to do to be able to manage all of that, or this the design purpose, if you will?
Well, if you look at the Big Bang, right, when energy and heat builds up, it doesn't go backwards, it doesn't cool down. It just keeps getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and then bang. If you have loads of trees together, as I said, if there's a fire, eventually they're all going to burn. It, as I said, humans do think that we are invincible, but we are no different to a lion, a fly, a mosquito, a ladybird, a ladyboy, whatever, right? It doesn't matter. We are exactly the same. And you know the law of attraction.
I
You
do.
could be convinced to go a certain way to the shopping center, right? But for some reason, you get pulled the other way. Like just something happens, like you hear a baby crying and you go that way, and then you go that way. The universe always has the final say. So essentially, it doesn't matter how quickly a medicine is created for COVID. It doesn't matter how smart leaders are, how disciplined followers are who follow the leadership. If the universe says there's too many humans on the planet and there needs to be a wipeout to stabilize living beings on the planet, so fish, animals, not just humans, because we're all connected. We eat all the fish is in balance, and then the bees bugger off over there. There's no problem. If the universe is like, look, the balance it's gone too far. Forget global warming exists or it doesn't, but if the life has changed so much so, the universe will be like, look, I can wipe out so many people by the time you find a vaccine that my job is done. So it doesn't matter how quickly we find a vaccine, how many people take the vaccine, the universe is gonna win regardless. It just has a way of winning. Let's
It
just
does.
say, let's just say that you have another 2 billion human beings born in say 3 years, and it takes 2 years to find a vaccine, right? It means that we might find a vaccine in 2 years and lose a billion, but there could be a flu in say another year's time, and we've got another 2 billion humans on the planet, and it takes another 2 3 years to find a vaccine that it could wipe out not just half the humans it did for the COVID, but even more because of the speed in which there was another pandemic, and the time it takes to get a drug for the vaccine. Plus, you got to distribute it to 2 billion more humans. The universe has a way of always winning, and it's like if you have a girlfriend or an ex-girlfriend and she doesn't like you or love you, are you going to stay there and try and be the man she wants you to be? Are you going to stay there and say, what can I do to make you happy? She doesn't love you, so she might be like, oh, I'll give him a chance, I'll just be here for a little bit until I find somebody else. But the inevitable is she doesn't want to be with you, and she's not going to be here forever. You've got to face the reality. And the reality is that if this is what evolution has come to, we have to go inwards. Small societies, small local states, rather than trying to save every human being on the planet by creating a vaccine, go and ask your neighbors, can I help you do this? The thing about the purpose. We think like the whole world, change the world. I've always wanted to be a billionaire. I've been very ambitious growing up. I wanted to change the world. Like, I wanted to take over the world. And somebody once said to me, why do you want to take over the world? Like, what do you mean by that? And it was like, do you know what? He's got a good point. When you say you want to change the world, take over the world, it means that you feel you've got more to offer and you want to show people. That could
Right.
be one person. It's not taking over the world, being the richest person so you can take over the world. It's not exist. It doesn't exist. It's a mindset of how you felt at that time. And so it's like the inevitable is that we're trying to change everything and everyone, and all you can really change is yourself and the people around you. And it goes back to the tribe days. Everything does a full circle. So you've got, say, 20 animals, 20 humans in a small tribe. You eat dinner, you sing with them, you dance with them, you bring up their kids. They say, how many people does it take to raise a kid? A whole village. Yet people try and do it just between a mother and a father, or one mother without the father. And yet it takes a whole village. You look at animals, they've got like herd of elephants bringing up one little baby elephant. You don't see one big elephant just bringing up one elephant. That's just not how it works. So it's called a full circle. It's not, okay, you need better leaders, you need more money, you need more discipline, you need more police. That's like saying more energy in space is only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And you know the outcome. Bang. And it all starts again. So it's essentially going from small tribes, big tribes, too many people to manage, fighting coronavirus, whatever, not enough food and water because there's too many flipping humans on the planet. And then you do a full circle and you're back to the local level. Let's just say that America has a massive lockdown and you can only say stay in your state and you've got, say, 30,000 people. You can't rely on food and drink from China or England or Mexico or even at the opposite end of America. You now have to visit the local cows in your state and the local apples in your state and the local this and that. And you do a full circle. And then you realize, why do I need big business anyway? Why do I need Just Eat? Why do I need big businesses taking over everything when I've got Margaret is selling apples, Janet is doing the jam, he's doing the chickens, he's got the cows, he's got the eggs. And then it's that awareness of a full circle. And then your purpose isn't trying to find a purpose. You are living your purpose right now. Because now it's Maureen's coming over saying, have you got any eggs? Absolutely, Maureen. Maureen says, have you got any coriander? And you go to the garden. And before you know it, the whole day's passed by. That was your purpose. Kids these days are sitting on their phone trying to find a purpose. And as I said, I told my mum the other day, your purpose is to pick some berries, make a blackberry crumble, not sit on your phone thinking, what can I do today? And it's all gone the opposite, but the universe will always bring it back.
Always bring it back. Interesting. Always bring it back. But yet, as we occupy the space and time that we're in, and as you say, the universe will balance. It always will. It's always going to win. But as we're going through that process, like I said, where we as the human beings are on this earth from, say, 100 years of age, 120 years of age, 80 years of age. We said earlier, early part of our civilization, 20 years of age was an old person at certain times in our evolution. But as we're doing that, would you agree or not agree that civility, harmony, and to do everything we possibly can to give equal rights and opportunities for those human beings that want it? Question one. Then follow-up question two would be, what do we do with those individuals that just, in my opinion, just want to sit on the sideline and suck the life out of everything they come in contact with? What's your thoughts?
Rephrase the question one so I can.
Okay.
Just briefly.
I had two questions. The question is, the universe is always going to win. But as we're in our present time and space, as human beings, we currently, regardless on the globe, say that we have a lifespan of, say, 100 years, within a 100-year lifespan of a human being. During that period of time, should we, as living, breathing things, do everything we possibly can to be able to afford opportunities or make life as good as we possibly can for those that want it?
So, for example, I'm listening to the radio, right? I'm in England, and I hear them say, riots have broken out in America, or something's happened in Spain. The first thing I'm thinking, why the fuck do I need to know that? I am in my house in England. I'm not there. If I didn't have a TV, I wouldn't know it's there. Why do I need to know that is happening? Right? Now, on a human level, you're in America, a black person in Nigeria, a Mexican, a Filipino, me. We're human beings. If you were here with me, we would connect as humans. Our energy will go into one. But doesn't matter how many elephants are on the planet, they might be the same species. All they can do is live their life on this part of the rock. And it doesn't matter about the elephants over there. They have no idea that's an elephant, okay? That's a man-made term, elephant. They have no idea what's happening over there. They don't know, they don't care. They're just focused on here. As a human race, because everything is connected, when we speak about humans and stuff, it's 8 billion human beings. It's not just a few, it's not country based. So when I listen to my radio and they say, something's happened in America, first thing I think is, if I was in America, that would be really sad. I'd want to try and make a difference. I'd want to help out. I'd want to do something if I was there. But I'm not there. Now, if there was stuff happening in my country and stuff in America, obviously I'd try and help my country first because it's closer. I can do something about it because it's closer. Now, not that I'd choose preference over country. It's just I've got to get on a plane. It costs money. I can only control what I can control. So it comes down to the fact that we're all connected. Every human being is now connected. Every human being is one. There's elephants in Africa. They're different to the elephants in, say, China. They don't know they exist, but because of how society is, we know everyone exists. So it's not just this is happening in England. This is happening in Russia. This is happening in America. This is happening in China. This is happening in North Korea. You take away the countries, it's just humanity has done this. Humanity has done that. Humans are fighting here. Humans are fighting there. You take away countries, take away borders. We're just human beings on a rock. And essentially, like quantum physics, as you probably know, there's no such thing as the time distance. Right. So you're in America, but really you're in my room. A Chinese man, he's in my room. An English man across my street, he's in my room. You're here. Whether it's one person or 8 billion people, our energies are connected. Now you could say tribal beliefs are different tribes and beliefs. So it's like having triangle and a square. They don't merge. But everything, the human consciousness is now all connected. So now everyone is a triangle and we all merge. So now everyone's problem is everyone's problem. We see everyone else's pain as a human being. So now when I listen to the radio and they say this has happened in America, it feels like my problem, like it's happening down the road. But even though I can't control it, you still feel part of it. And world problems affect you as if it's your own, because you think, wow, that could be my family, that could be my gran, or maybe you had a gran that moved out there and it easily could have been her. So now that time collapses and it all merges into one, and you see it as a fellow brother, a fellow sister, a fellow friend, even though you don't know who they are, they're billions of miles away. So now it becomes our problem. So how does humanity solve humanity's problem? And you can't solve it. You can only try and solve it. And that is your purpose. That's the purpose. Like some people spend 50 years trying to get justice for something, 50 years trying to change the world as I used to try and do, 50 years to Elon Musk creating a chip and creating planes and creating therapies. Einstein spent all his life doing a light bulb or whatever. That was his purpose. And then he's dead. Now what? Well, there's billions of other problems. So it's like, well, it's a waste of time, really, because he created the light bulb. But now we've got solar panels. So it was a waste of time. But it's like, no, it's this transition of purpose. It's just like, you're here. Now what do you do? And it's like, well, I just need a purpose. And it's just eventually everything ends up being irrelevant anyway. Like, let's just say there was a massive asteroid that hit the Earth, like the dinosaur ages. Mm-hmm. Everything we've ever done, you, me, my laptop, your book, my idea, every single thing will be an absolute, it didn't exist, nonsense. So it's like, what is the point in any of this? And it comes back to, you're here, so you might as well find a purpose. What was your question too?
Yeah, no, I think you got it, and that was the point I was making, because, and you're so right. Quantum physics, and to a lot of folks, and I don't want to suggest that globally people don't understand quantum physics, but folks, it is real. Quantum physics is real, and to have a better understanding and you are extremely evolved in that understanding. I could just tell the short period of time that we were spent together. But I want to, I'm going to celebrate my 70, 72. I'm going to be 72 years of age in on the 29th of September. I look back on my life, and my life started nothing special. Uh, Poor Southern boy. I mean, all of the challenges that one could be dealt. And when I make that comment, I am no means suggesting I'm a victim. I am not. I am suggesting that life gives us stuff. It's our choice what we decide to do with it. And as long as as long as I can take a breath, and I'm like you. I've often said I want to change the world until I realize how crazy that sounds. Right? Well, I can't. But what can I do for this period of time that I am going to be present? Can I do something that's going to inspire someone's life to say, yes, we can? And maybe 1,000 years when, as we evolve, 1,000 years down the road, do I do I want somebody to say, well, geez, that conversation that thing called podcast that I looked at and I listened to with Oliver and Jim back 1,000 years ago, maybe it inspired me for my thought process. So I'm trying to make a point, if I can make it myself, is the fact that it's all within us. It's all within us. And also, people ask the question, how can such evil people be in power? How did evil people obtain power? What is evil? What is evil people? And I'm one to say that I am no fan of our current U.S. president. I am no fan of our current U.S. president. Uh, I I I'm a man of my word. I believe that your word. I believe trust. I believe all of those things are important. I believe that you and we just decided, and thank you for reaching out, just decided to have a conversation today. We didn't set this up. We just decided to have a conversation, and you initiated it, and I'm very thankful for it because I'm actually being very stimulated in our conversation because when we started talking, I had no idea where we were going to go. Right? I had no idea. But at the same time, we have an opportunity in the space that we're in, hopefully, to say, somebody looking at, I can make a difference. I can have a purpose today. So as long as we can continue to do that, as we got continue to evolve as a civilization, like I said, 100 years from today, 200 years from today, and that's what I did when I wrote the book, Broken America, when I went back to the Constitution, when the United States that thrived and said, we're going to do our own thing right here. We're going to go make our own country. We're going to do this. And why? Because we had a different set of values at that time. And we are such a young country. The United States is such a young country. And I often say to people, there is no guarantees that we can remain this, what we commonly refer to as the most powerful nation and arguably, on earth. Well, there's no guarantee that you're ever going to maintain that position. So we have a lot of people in America that think it's a given. It's not a given. It can go away just like that. Just like that. And it distresses me when I see hundreds of years of people that have fought for society, civilization, that harmony, and to be able to live a life, a purpose, if that changes 10 times a day.
So you're saying how, why is evil people in power?
Right.
Well, just imagine that power is leadership, and you have to do good. And if you don't do good, then people will find a way to get you out. Bad people are bad people, and they do bad things. And so the rule of good and bad doesn't exist. They just do what they have to do to stay in. So this rule about you've done bad, get out,
True.
it's no, fuck off. And if people try and tell them, then you assassinate them. So it's like, well, you're just the big elephant stampeding on everything, and because you're bigger, there's nothing I can do apart from get out the way, or And so, how do you control stuff like that? So it doesn't matter whether somebody likes Trump or doesn't like Trump. Imagine America is the president, right? And say you could say, I don't know, China or Russia the vice president, right? The one below, let's say, in terms of overall power, and then you could say below Russia is China, which is the president, CEO, and then you got the board of directors, right? So everyone has a position. You
Correct.
speak up to him, you don't speak up to me. You follow what I say, and you follow this command. So it's called the what's the word? Everyone has their different positions. The dominoes fall in certain orders, right?
Right.
I can't think of that phrase. Anyway, so things have a certain order. Now we can agree that America is the chief, right? At the very bottom, at the very top, the boss, yeah, and all the other countries are below. What has happened over time is that other countries have thought that they're the boss, and they've piped up. And then the chief, who was supposed to be in control, has gone on holiday because he's feeling so powerful. He's gone on a boat. He's living in Barbados. And like terrorist organizations or drug organizations, if the big El Chapo or the big ISIS isn't there and they've gone on holiday, somebody else will pipe up and start selling the drugs. Somebody else will pipe up and start taking over the territory. What happened, you could say, is that American leadership over time, for whatever reason, went on holiday for a bit. Russia piped up, China piped up, Iran piped up, Syria piped up, North Korea piped up. Now, imagine a big elephant amongst small elephants. If that elephant has got 400 years on the planet, and no other elephant becomes as big as that big elephant, he's going to dominate. He can squash all of you. He's that big cow in a field that barges out the way, get me to the hay. And all the other cows, they move back. Whether one hates Trump or doesn't hate Trump, we can agree that America is a superpower and is the chief. Other countries thought they were the chief, and they tried to take a little bit of control. The chief didn't say, I'm sorry, but I'm the chief here. He was on holiday. He was playing golf. He doesn't care about that. I'll sort it out when I come back. Okay, another way, like the game we hit moles at the arcade. You hit one worm and the other one comes up, and you hit that one and the other one comes up. You're supposed to hit the moles as they come up. What happened is that the other guy was playing coins in another arcade, and all these moles piped up, and there wasn't enough people to put them down. Whether one hates Trump or not, Trump has come in and has put everyone in order. He's put everyone in order. They suppose you're number 10, you're number 9, you're number 8, you're number 7. I am number 20. He's put everyone in order. He's aligned everyone up. What's that fucking thing? Command position. Chain of command. Okay, the chain of command was all tangled. It was 7, 4, 2, 9, 1, 8, 7, 6. Trump has put them in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. America, Russia, China, Iran. He's put everyone in order. So if he and when he dies, one thing no one can take away from him is he's put everyone he has put everyone back in their place. That is something no one could take away from him. Forget policies. He has put everyone back in their place. America is now at the top of the triangle. They are the chief, the king of the world right now. No one can disagree. Iran hasn't done anything for a while. North Korea hasn't done anything for a while. China, they're just hoping to God that he doesn't come back in. Russia, Putin knows that he's not going to get away with shit. Everyone's piped down. It's like silence after a storm. You don't hear anything. When he came in, it was like, yeah, we'll try our luck. North Korea starts shooting missiles. They know he means business. Hate him or not, it is only a good thing that these big elephants are in their order, because a big elephant has come into town and has said, look, I'm the chief here. And that is not a bad thing. Would you agree?
Well, I agree that the powers that you describe has been pretty muted over the past 3.5 years. I agree with that. But there's also and I also agree that America is the power. But there's also a method that you make that stuff at. So is it putting everybody in order at all costs of what it does to other human beings? Is it putting everybody in order by lying, distorting the truth, or is we have everybody in order because it's just one big bully sitting at the top? What is it?
Imagine you have a mother. She's got 20 kids. She's watching 3 of them. Jonathan, get back down. Lucy, put that down. While she's looking at there, her other kids are over there. In fact, let's do it to a chimpanzee situation. Imagine like chimps in a jungle, right? They're swinging around the trees. That monkey mum is like, come back down, and they're swinging over there. When she looks over there, quantum physics again, when you observe that particle, that comes to you, right? So what you don't want comes when you're looking at it, blah, blah, blah. So she's trying to control her 3 chimps. And all the other chimps are running wild. So she stops dealing with those 3. She goes and deals with those 3. No matter what she does, there's going to be carnage. So she saves them from falling down, but then they climb up. She doesn't go to them, they're going to fall. But when she goes to them, they go up the tree again. When you look at something, it does the opposite. Have you noticed that when you say there's ghosts, when you say ghost, please make a noise if you're here. They don't do it when you're asking. But when you stop focusing on them, then they throw the marbles. That's quantum physics. It's not the ghost. It's the vibration of your thoughts, what you're focusing on, creating a vibration in, say, the painting on the wall, the plant pot, and it falls off. The longer you observe it, the more charge it has. When you look at it, bang. So let's just say that politics is about balancing. It's about trying to make as many people in harmony as possible. You cannot look at all those chimpanzees up that tree, because when you do, that happens over there. It's impossible to keep every single person happy. When you do something, it's going to affect that. When you take something from there, it comes from there, right? When you look at those chimps go up the tree. When you take water from the ocean, it goes in rain and appears over there. You cannot make everyone happy. And when you make a certain group happy, you make another group unhappy. For example, you have gay marriage accepted in America, and all the Christians are like, you shouldn't be gay, it's against God. So now you've pissed off a lot of those people whilst you've made those people happy. It's about the balance. This is why it's not about Republicans, Democrats. It's not about Trump or Biden. It's about balancing up as much. It's about creating as much harmony as you can. And again, in the animal kingdom, there's always another animal that tries to take over the land. If they fight, the one who's bigger wins, and that one steps down until another one steps up, and eventually that one's going to get old and this one's going to defeat it. That's the balance of life, yin and yang, positive, negative. It's not one. It's not this is right. Trump did this, but he also did this, or this happened because Trump did this. It's just not. That's not how it works. And what's happened these days is that it's not just red or black, black and white. It's red, black, orange, blue, green. All these belief systems, all these ways of life, all these tribes coming up, all Chinese tribes, Indian tribes, African tribes, English tribes. You can't keep everyone happy. Now there's not 20 chimps. There's about 1 billion chimps. You don't know what to fucking do. You kill a wasp, you kill an ant's nest, another ant's nest. Fuck's sake, you go over there, you kill that ant's nest, another one. Big hornet's nest. You deal with that, another one comes. What do you do? And this is the whole point. One has to accept the fact that humans are not powerful. They're not in control. They think they are because they take over the planet. We are no different to the laws of what a worm abides by. And when we truly accept that, we stop trying to create change and we just essentially go within and live a harmonious life ourselves and help thy neighbor rather than help everyone around the world. You know, it's like they say, stop looking for love. It's already there. The person you're supposed to be with is the person you grew up from school with, right? You don't like her because she's ugly, but it's a spirit that you'd fall in love with. Whilst you're looking at Kim Kardashian in America, your lover's like, we're the same. So what we look at, we ignore. It's already there. But yeah.
Understood. Understood. Your analogies are really good, and I just want to say this before we conclude. Um,
I've got all the time in the world, don't I?
yeah, um, it's not about hating Trump or not hating Trump. I don't hate Trump. That's not the point. What I what I believe in, I believe in a country, and I think that we have to have leadership. And also agree with you up to a point about if you're going to make some group happy, you're going to make another group not happy. I just go back to, and maybe this would be appropriate. I just go back to my time in the military, and in the '60s, we had in the '60s we had a lot of issues in America in the '60s in civil rights. We had a lot of people in Vietnam that uh, were draftees. We had a lot of people that didn't want to be there. Um, I volunteered for the army. I asked to go. I did that in the mid '60s. So the point I'm getting to, I'm there, a young white Southern boy, by command, as you laid out, control and command, chain of command, chain of command. I'm chain of command, and I am a young platoon leader. In other words, I have these people. I am the chain here, and it comes down. Well, I looked over, and I'm standing in formation. I had every walk of life, black, Hispanic, Asian, every walk of life in my platoon. And my job, as I viewed it at that time, was do everything that I possibly could to make sure that each one of those individuals were able to go home vertical, to get on an airplane when their time was to depart the theater, as we referred to it, the combat theater. Now, I work to try to make everybody harmonious within my platoon, all walks of life, all religions, and we actually did a pretty good job with that. And it's called leadership. It's called empathy. It's called compassion. It's called understanding the other person's point of views, their concerns. I spent a lot of time understanding every person in my platoon. As I started in business, one of the things I did is to make sure that I understood as much as again every employee. That takes a lot of work. I want to know what makes you tick as best as I possibly can. That is a lot of work on me because I believe it's really important that if we're all going to be collective, we got to be singing from the same song as a collective group to be able to accomplish our mission that we have set out for this time, our purpose. So, whereby I agree with you that the Irans, the Russias, the North Koreans, and all those people have become somewhat neutral at the moment. I'll use that word. I do not agree that we could also do it in a different way. Now, have we accomplished that with past friends? Well, to a degree, maybe, maybe not. But I think we can do a better job at it, and that's probably a debate for many times for many people, and I have it every day. Yes, I agree with that, but I think we can do it better. I'm just wired that I think I could be better. This universe gave me some DNA wiring to believe that we can be better as long as we're here walking this earth and trying to make a positive influence on people.
So your chain of command group, there, how many was there? Just roughly 50, 100, 200?
There was 250 in a company. There was like in a platoon, 55, 60.
So you're saying that it was harmonious. I
I did
absolutely.
I did not say that was harmonious. I was saying they had differences. They had differences. It was not harmonious. It
No,
was
so
actually
wrong word. Are you saying that you all got along, you were in sync, you were all on the same page.
I said after a period of time as a leader, we depended on each other. We become to trust each other. We didn't necessarily agree with everything that we did, but at the same time, we were as a collective believed in each other and supported each other. We didn't agree. We could have very spirited conversations about politics, about religion, about all of that. But I'm saying as a leader, you can bring people together with diverse views, but it's called leadership. How do you and make people know that you actually care, so you can go about your day in a harmonious way and yet disagree.
So many companies these days, they're at the top and they let everyone else deal with everyone else. And they're so distant from the vision of essentially the one at the top. And I've always known this. I watched my father. He's a singer. He was, whatever. He has an individual connection with every single person.
Right.
Every single restaurant person he has a connection to. It's not business. It's you're a human being. You've got a restaurant. I'm a singer. I need to get paid. Let's work together.
Correct.
We're all in harmony. So getting to know each individual employee, yeah, it does take time. But I used to work for a restaurant. I wasn't a manager. I wanted to run the whole damn company. But because I shut all my businesses down because as I said, I wanted to take over the world. And then I had a spiritual awakening and I was realizing that wasn't what I wanted. I got my first part-time job in a restaurant. Now, at school, people always talk about people. It's just the way it is. Even older people, they talk about people, not necessarily in a bad or the good way, but they do. But I realized that if I build an individual relationship with each individual person, they're not going to talk about me when I'm not there because we have an individual connection. You feel like you're betraying your friend. So speaking about your company, speaking to every employee, so many companies will slag off the big companies they work for. Let's just say Virgin, slag off Richard Branson. He's not even at the top, for goodness sake, yeah? But they will slag them off. They don't care about us, whatever. Because you don't understand, you don't see it. But if Richard spoke to every single person, you'd feel like you're essentially slagging off a friend or a neighbor. So getting to know each individual person it's so crucial. But what I will say is it's easier to be more in harmony with say 300 Conrads than it is to make 8 billion humans in harmony.
Agreed. Agree. Yeah.
So I think what you were saying is you were disagreeing that I was saying it's when you make some people happy, there's somebody unhappy. And then you were saying how you disagree because when you were in the military or whatever, you were somewhat more in harmony. And I was going to say that's because there's less people to please as opposed to trying to please the whole world. And that's why trying to make everyone happy, it's harder than it is.
Yeah. And I get that. And my point is, I think with the right leadership and the right message, you can do a better job. You can. I think we can do a better job at bringing the globe together, and then we're doing. I just think we can. We're going to make everybody happy? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's what makes us all unique. That's what makes this globe so unique, is the unique individuals. But at the same time, there's got to be a voice of reason. And we look at the people, especially in America, that we hold up as spiritual leaders and as political leaders. And one that comes to mind is Martin Luther King, right? Martin Luther King in the 60s, his message, his inspiration, his ability to communicate, his ability to give hope. Hope. And I often say in business, hope is not a strategy to make money, because you got to have but having people say that can my life be better? Can I get out of this ghetto? Can I do these things? Can I do that? We've got to have leaders that, as long as we're going to occupy this planet, we need leaders being able to say, yes, we can. We're not going to make everybody happy, but it's fight the fight in a positive way, to try to make life a little bit more compatible globally. A lot of people say, "Well, Jim, that's pretty naive." I said, "Yeah, it probably is, but if it's okay, I'm gonna hang on to that because that's what I've been fighting for over 60 years is to make sure that in business, and I'm a business guy. I've been very blessed. I'm very humble for what I've been able to accomplish, and I did it by having this outreach to majority of my employees, let them know that I do care about them and everybody knows that this is where we want to go. I want our employees to understand that each and every employee to understand that we're trying to create a company that is affording a wage that they can afford to buy food and pay for the necessities versus working at the bottom of the run. That's one thing that I'm always doing. I have never ran a company where the U.S. government says the minimum wage is this in the United States. And I hate that with a passion. I don't want to pay people minimum wage. I want to do everything I possibly can to pay as much as I possibly can to those individuals to help them have a better quality of life that they choose, even though we may disagree on a lot of subjects. But that's the point I'm making in America and around the world today that we need leaders, in my opinion. I think we have void currently where we don't have leaders that are maybe having these type of conversations that are maybe a little bit more inspiring to people versus saying, hey, you make me mad, my missile's bigger than your missile, right?
That's the thing. People, big companies, they see it as I want to make as much money as possible, so I pay you as little as possible. And you might have, say, 5 million each year for, say, 5 years. But eventually, if you piss off your people essentially doing your work for you, you're only going to ever have 25 mil. If you give people, say, twice as much wage in those first 5 years, not only will that company still be around in 5 years' time because they've not got pissed off with you, you would have made that extra 25 mil back because your company's still going. And I'm same as you. You pay people how you want to be paid. People will want to work for you. They know they're not leaders and they can't create a business. They're employees and they follow. That's just, they understand that, right? They're not expecting to be paid the same amount of money as the boss. That's just not what it is. They know that the going rate is, say, 25K, whatever. They will be ecstatic to get 30K. They want to work, but they have to live. And so they're human beings at the end of the day. And if you make everyone happy, that company's going to be around for a very long time. If you pay them shit amount of money because you want to make a bit more, you might get that bit more for that short amount of time, but you're going to lose it because these people are each making you £1 and you've got 50 in the bank. And yeah, it's a mindset. I'm exactly the same. I'm only 27 and I know all this stuff. I don't excessive thinking, analyzing, my father telling me all this stuff. But yeah, everything you're saying about the business model is so true. I always have a vision that when I've got my massive company, each employee will have my number. I want to know what's happening at the bottom level. I don't trust the chain of command. They're not leaders. They are managers on a higher wage. They're not
Right.
leaders. They cannot
Agreed.
lead. They are following from the one above. The only leader is the one at the top. Otherwise, why the hell are they following me? So I want to know at the very bottom of the waiter in the restaurant, what is happening? Tell me. Obviously, it won't go straight to me. It'll go to my PA and she'll sit me down and say, look, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. And I'll know that the chances are if it's happening in this restaurant, it's happening in every restaurant. Right. And then I send people down to make sure after I've sent my chain of command down that it's being followed. How many people from the top, like undercover boss, the boss says something and he's pissed off how it's not in place and he blames everyone else. I'm like, mate, you are the person in charge. You have to make sure that what you vision goes down. Yeah, you can't be the one who goes down. You can't rely on these people, but at least have a PA guy who goes and makes sure that it's in place. And that's how I think. You have a PA, which is the dividing of my brain. You got your chain of command. You put it down. They have connections with you. And they can, any problems, you come to me. They will feel so powerful that they've got the man at the top on speed dial. They will run it like it's your own. And when you send things down the chain, don't presume that Malcolm's put it in place. Malcolm's on £1 an hour salary. He's a manager, but he doesn't want to be there. So make sure that it's in place. And it is a mindset.
So true. So true.
I'm very with you on that.
Yeah. So true. I tell you what, we could have this discussion for hours and hours and hours and hours, but I've got to say thank you, and because I just realized the time. Geez, I couldn't realize what hour 15 or so, and I've got to grab on another appointment at my time and 2:30. So I'm gonna
Okay,
have to say thank you.
quickly say your book and where it can be bought and what date it's going to be released.
Broken America. We're going to release it on September the 9th, and you can buy it through authorjimwhite.com, brokenamerica.com, or all of the other platforms around the world that sells books. So brokenamerica.com, release it on Tuesday. I mean, excuse me, Wednesday.
Mhm.
It is Wednesday, September the 9th. It has been a pleasure, Oliver. Thank you, sir.
Okay, wait there one sec. Let me just press stop and I will say goodbye.